Welcome, my students. Today we will discuss together and solve questions about chapter number 9, transport in animals. So let's get started. Question number 1. A. Figure 1.1 shows the human heart and the main blood vessels. The function of the parts of the heart and some of the blood vessels are given in table 1.1. Complete table 1.1. One row has been done for you. Here is the function, and then the letter on the figure 1.1, and here the name of the part of the heart. As I told you earlier, the best strategy to solve those questions is to label. A is the aorta. B is the pulmonary artery. No, yeah, it is the pulmonary artery. C is the left atrium. D is the mitral valve, okay, or the bicuspid, okay, mitral valve. Which is bicuspid or made up of two flaps, bicuspid. Of course, it's according to its position, it's atrioventricular. Atrioventricular valve. But I do not recommend you to use atrioventricular valve because it may make a conflict with the other atrioventricular valve. This is another one. It's not pointed, but just to learn, we are practicing. So this is the tricuspid valve, or it's also atrioventricular, but it is a tricuspid made up of three flaps. Tricuspid valve. Tri means three, spide means flaps. And bicuspid is two flaps. Okay. Of course, it is atrioventricular. Atrioventricular valve. Or tricuspid. But I don't recommend you to use atrioventricular. So, E is the left ventricle. Of course, here is F is the septum that divide the heart into two chambers and preventing the mixing of the blood between the left and the right side. G is the right atrium. Right atrium, right ventricle, sorry. H here is the inferior vena cava. Inferior vena cava, it's drain blood from lower body parts. Lower body parts. And here there is, of course, the superior vena cava. This is the superior vena cava. I just use the ruler. Yes, exactly. This is the superior vena cava. Of course, it drains the blood. From upper body parts. Okay. And this is the vena cava, and here is the right atrium. Here is the right, J is the right atrium. Okay, so all of those are the labelings. Even I can extend my labelings because, as you mentioned, we are learned. The superior vena cava taking the blood from the upper body parts and drain it. Yeah, I'm gonna use in the, yes, drain it. Okay, to the right atrium. And in the same way, let's use another shape. Okay, I use the blue color. Okay, so the inferior vena cava also taking the blood, the deoxygenated blood from the lower body parts. Okay, also towards the right atrium, and here is the same way. Okay, when the blood received by the right atrium, the deoxygenated blood, then it will flow, or the right atrium will will be contracted, and the blood will flow, will be pushed and squeezed to pass into the right ventricle. When the blood comes to the right ventricle, in return, the right ventricle will be contracted. One interesting thing is when the right atrium contract, then the right ventricle will relax. When it relax, the yeah, I didn't label K. K is the semilunar valve. Semilunar valve. Okay, K is semilunar. Because it's found in the base of the pulmonary, so it's known as pulmonary valve. Of course, arteries, no arteries in the body do contain valve except those two, the pulmonary and the aorta, and also they are in the base of the aorta and in the base of the pulmonary, not at anywhere else. Okay, so this is the aorta, and it's supposed to be here in this place. I will take also another line to draw it to be much more comprehensive. Yeah, the lunar is there. Where is the ruler then? Yes, it's not there. I don't know where. 1 second. Yes, here it is. So this is also a valve, a semilunar valve. Yes. This is known as aortic valve or aortic valve is a semilunar valve. Semilunar valve. Okay. So when the right atrium contract, pushing the blood to the right ventricle, then the right ventricle is relaxed. When it relaxes, the semilunar valve or the pulmonary valve will be closed, preventing the backflow of the blood from the pulmonary artery, okay, to the right ventricle. And at the same time, the three flaps of the tricuspid valve will be moved down in order to allow the flow of the blood from the right atrium to the right ventricle. Surely, the tips of the flaps are permanently connected to the walls of the artery by tendons. This is tendon. I recommend you to see the dissection of the heart, okay, that I posted to you earlier in the YouTube channel, in order to find out a real dissection of a cow's heart, in order to find out the main structure on the real. So, When the blood is being pumped from the right ventricle through the pulmonary artery, of course, it will be branched. One branch for the left lung, okay, and the other branch is to the right lung. This is to the right lung, and here is to left lung. Okay, that's good. So when the blood is went or being sent to the lungs, on the lung the gas exchange will be occurred, and the oxygen will be loading, and the carbon dioxide will be expelled, and the blood is referred to as oxygenated blood. So I'll change the color into red in order just to represent the bright color of the oxygenated blood. So the blood in the lung will be drained back into the heart via veins, pulmonary veins. Those are pulmonary veins. Pulmonary vein. And this is the only exceptional veins in the body that carry oxygenated blood. Similarly, the pulmonary artery is the only exceptional artery in the body that carry the deoxygenated blood. So the pulmonary vein, okay, from the heart, from the lung, carry oxygenated blood from the lung, then to the pulmonary vein, and then enters to the left atrium. Surely also this is a pulmonary vein. We have 4 pulmonary veins. 1, 2, 3, 4. All of them are pulmonary veins. They connected together in order to drain the content that of the oxygenated blood come from the lung into the left atrium. So those are also pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins carry the blood from lung, surely. From lung via the pulmonary veins into the, okay, they will passing here and even here and the back here, and drain its content into the left atrium. The left atrium then will pumping the blood. When the left atrium contracting, the flaps of the mitral valve that also is being connected via a tendon. This is a tendon as well. So the flaps will move down and the blood will flow to the left ventricle. When the left atrium contract, the left ventricle is supposed to be relaxed in order to receive the blood in this case. And while the contraction of the left atrium, the 2 flaps of the mitral valve will be open and the blood will flow, and the 2 flaps of the semilunar valve or the aortic valve will be closed in order to prevent the backflow of the blood from the aorta back to the ventricle. Right after this, the left ventricle will be contracted, pumping the blood from the left ventricle to the aorta. Here is the aorta. And the aorta is branching to all of the body parts. Here to the head, for example. Okay, another branch to heart. Okay, and another branch to every single part in the body. Okay, actually, it moved to all body parts. Those that carry blood to the head and to the heart, they are known as coronary artery. Coronary arteries. We will talk about them later in details. So again, when the blood is being received by the left atrium, then it will pumping the blood to the left ventricle. Left ventricle then will squeeze and will be contracted, pumping the blood to the aorta, then the aorta is delivering the blood to all of the body parts, okay, up and down, every single where in the body. So this is interesting thing. Let's repeat it one more time. So even if we would like to extend our explanation, I will divide the, one second, I'll divide this into two halves, okay, upper and lower. Okay, first of all, let's make it right and left. Okay, exactly like this. Yes. I'll use different color. Let's make it, yes, okay, black, no problem. So here we have two regions, sorry. Okay. So in this case, we have right and left side. The right side of the heart, side, is dedicated for deoxygenated blood. Here we have the left side, is dedicated for the oxygenated blood. Okay. So the right atrium, the right ventricle, both of them carry the oxygenated blood. The left ventricle, the left atrium, both of them carry oxygenated blood. I also can make another plan. Let's make, okay, using a brown, for example. Okay, and make another line that divided into two halves, upper and lower, like this. Yes. If I divide it into two halves, okay, upper and lower, it will be like this. We have upper, here is upper part, or upper side. Upper side is made up of atria. This is the upper side. And the atria is dedicated for receiving blood. Receiving blood. Of course, in the upper, according to the half, if we are talking about the right atrium, of course, it's deoxygenated. The left atrium, deoxygenated, but both of them are receiving the blood. The right atrium receiving the blood from the vena cava, while the left atrium receiving the blood from the pulmonary veins. And we have lower parts. The lower part is dedicated for pumping the blood. Yes. Pumping the blood. Okay. And according to the half, if it's the right, so it's pumping the deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle, okay, to the pulmonary artery to the lung, and the left ventricle pumping the oxygenated blood through the aorta to all of the body parts. So we talk about all of the parts of the heart and the main blood vessels that comes out and gets into the heart. I like also to make use of this time that to illustrate the circulation. We have what is known as a double circulation. Yeah, so we have closed circulatory system, closed circulatory system, which means that the blood moving in blood vessels from the heart to the cells and back again from the cells to the heart. Okay, this is number one. Number two, it is double circulation. It's very important. Okay, we have double circulation. Double circulation. What's the meaning of double circulation? The blood moves, or the blood visits the heart twice in one complete circuit or in one complete journey. Okay, in actually two circulations, we're going to talk about them. Number one of the first is the pulmonary circulation, and systemic circulation. Okay, so let's talk about the pulmonary circulation first of all. Let's use a different color, blue, because it's representing the darker color for the blood that is having waste and carbon dioxide and deoxygenated blood. So when the blood, okay, from the lower body parts, okay, taken through the inferior vena cava, and the deoxygenated blood from the upper body parts, all of them taken through the main vein, which is the superior vena cava, and both of them enter to the right atrium. So then the blood will be pumped to the right ventricle, from which the pulmonary circulation started. So the right ventricle will contracted, pushing the blood through the pulmonary artery to the lungs. At the lung, the blood will be the gas will be exchanged, and the deoxygenated blood will carry more oxygen and drop the carbon dioxide. Then the blood will be referred to as oxygenated blood. The oxygenated blood will be taken from the two lungs via the four pulmonary veins and drained back into the left atrium. And here is the end of the pulmonary circulation. The blood is now oxygenated, and the oxygen gas is exchanged. Then we have the systemic circulation, started from the left ventricle and end up in the right atrium. In the left ventricle, the oxygenated blood, I'll use another color representing the bright color for the oxygenated blood. Okay, so the blood, after it's being received by the left atrium, then the left atrium will bumping the blood towards the left ventricle. In return, the left ventricle will be squeezed, contract to push and pump the blood through the aorta to all of the body parts. And when it goes to all of the body parts, to the cells, though the cells will make use of the oxygen and food, and in return they will do metabolic activities, and as a result the carbon dioxide will be made and waste products, and the blood in this case will be known as deoxygenated blood. And from the cells, the deoxygenated blood in the lower body part will be taken through the inferior vena cava, and in the upper body part will be taken through or via the superior vena cava, and both of them enter to the right atrium. And this is the end of the systemic circulation. That's why we have a double circulation, which is also closed. So this is a very detailed illustration about the heart generally, and now we can solve the question very clearly. So let's carry on. Yeah, structure that separates the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Yes, surely it is the septum. It's the septum. If you return it back to the figure, it is letter F. Structure that prevents the backflow of blood from ventricle to atrium. Yes, of course, it is. He didn't say which one of them, so it is atrioventricular valve. Atrioventricular valve. It will be okay if you nominate one of them, such like, for example, tricuspid. This is the one that he referred to. Okay. Oh no, didn't. He referred in the figure to the letter D, to the bicuspid. Bicuspid is the mitral. Okay. This has been done for you. Blood vessel that carries oxygenated blood, aorta. This is the main artery in the body. Okay, blood vessels that, where are we? Blood vessel that carries deoxygenated blood. Yeah, according to the figure he presented, we have two actually blood vessels that was labeled. Blood vessel number B and H. The B was referring to the pulmonary, and the second labeled one was referred to the letter H, which was the vena cava. Vena cava. Okay, structure that prevents the backflow of blood from pulmonary artery to the right ventricle. Yes, in the pulmonary artery, at the base of it, we have the pulmonary valve. It would be okay if you say pulmonary valve, which is a semilunar valve. Okay, and the letter was K. Chamber of the heart that contains oxygenated blood. Surely it was the left atrium and left ventricles, which is the left side. Left and left. Left atrium, receiving blood, and left ventricle, pumping the blood. Left atrium was being referred to by the letter C, and the left ventricle was being referred to by the letter E. Chamber of the heart that contains deoxygenated blood. Yes, right and right. Right and right. Right side, generally. Yes. So, right atrium and right ventricle. J and G. Yes. Let's carry on. So, it's stopped here. Let's go for the next page. Yeah, B. A group of students used a heart monitor in order to recall the pulse rate of an athlete during 5,000-meter race. The recordings started just before the race began and ended just after it had finished, as shown in figure 1.1. Okay, so this is at the start of the race here. This is at the end of the race. This is the time per minute on the x-axis and the pulse rate per beats per minute on the y-axis. So let's continue. Use data from figure 1.2 to describe effect of exercise on the pulse rate of athletes. Surely, in the beginning of the race, here, this is at the beginning of the race, the pulse was equal to 40 or 40, 44 maybe, around, yes. Okay, this is at the beginning. So when the athlete start, then it's peaked up to here, peaked up to 160 or 170, 170, about 170. And it's remained on this level till the end of the race. Till the end of the race, okay, to the level of also 170. And after the rate, it's dropped dramatically, okay, into this level, which is 80 heartbeat per minute. Yes, it's about 80. 1 second. Yeah, it is 80. So now we can find out a proper explanation. So in the beginning of the exercise, the pulse rate increases from 40 to 160, okay, from 40 in 2 minutes to 170 in just, okay, before even, this is 2, okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, in the third minute. So in a minute, it rocketed from 40 beats per minute into 170 beats per minute. So it increases. Okay, so this is the data, the description. He asked for the description. So we can say that the pulse rate increases or increased, okay, from 40 beats per minute into 160 or 70, I think. It was 70, even more than this. 70 beats per minute, okay, at the beginning, okay, at the beginning of the exercise. So then it stay stationary, or you can say stay constant. You can say remain constant. Remain constant during the exercise. Remain constant to, okay, the level of 170 beats per minute, okay, during, okay, exercise. Okay, so we can also say that the maximum was and the minimum was the maximum or the peak, we can say. The peak was 170, okay, beats per minute, okay, at minute number 4, at 4 minutes. Okay, we can say also the minimum if you want. Okay, so this is the description of this data. Let's move to the next question. Explain the change in the pulse rate between 2 minutes and 3 minutes after the recording started. Yes, at 2 minutes this is the start, 3 this is the, okay, from at 2 it was 40, and at 3 it rocketed into 170. So it's an extreme rocketing or rise. So why? He is now asking for the reason. Yes, sure. When you are doing exercise, then the kidney has a gland above it, which is the adrenal gland. It secretes the adrenaline hormone. So we can start from here. The adrenaline hormone will stimulate okay, the increase of both of the pulse rate and the heart rate. We can say the pulse rate, heart rate, any. Okay, so right after this, then will be increase in the blood, okay, 1 second. This is the, yeah. Right after this, the concentration, the oxygen will be used up. When the heart rate increase, that leads to more blood reaching to the muscles. Okay, so in the muscle, oxygen will be used up by muscle. In the aerobic respiration, why? To release energy required for the exercise. Okay, so when the oxygen level drop, okay, when the oxygen level drop, okay, the carbon dioxide CO2 level rocketing. CO2, okay, dissolve and forming. Actually, CO2 plus H2O will forming, okay, will forming H2CO3, the carbonic acid. So forming the blood to be more acidic. So when the blood has become more acidic, so this will be detected, okay? The brain centers detect lowering in pH of blood. So after the lowering of the pH of the blood, then the brain will send a signal, nerve impulse, surely, nerve signal. Nerve signal or impulse to the heart muscle, So the heart muscle, will contract faster. Okay, so when the heart muscle contract faster, again, as we mentioned earlier, so the more blood pump, to the muscles. When more blood move to the muscles, so more need or high demand of oxygen, as we mentioned earlier, for the aerobic respiration, and release of energy needed for the activities or for the exercise, and more even removal of the carbon dioxide. All of those are associated here, and even I can add more. He just need 4, and I think I add more than maybe 8 or 10. Okay, you can extend the explanation, sure. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I added 10, and I even can add more than this. And surely the 4 marks are being accomplished, and the total marks are being acquired for the question are being achieved. Okay, thank you for today. I wish you all the best. Wishing to you, inshallah, next time. Till then, stay safe and stay blessed.